All right, hello and welcome again to day one of the World of Concrete 2025. It's 1 p.m. and according to our tower here, it's time to do our DynaThane joint resin demonstration. My name's Mike Murphy with Pecora Technical Service. I'm joined once again by Mike and Glenn, also in the tech service department. We're out here every year doing live product demonstrations, typically 3 a day. And the goal is every year to promote a new product. So that's what we're doing right now. We have our DynaThane control joint resin or control joint filler. Okay, so we're going to talk about the two product options with the DynaThane 800. We have a hand mix version and a machine mix version. So it's a control joint filler or control joint resin as they're referred to in the industry. If you're in the concrete industry, you're familiar with control joint fillers, okay? We did not reinvent the wheel here. Pecora is basic in many technologies regarding joint sealants and joint fillers. So we decided to add a joint filler to our product lineup. So again, if you're familiar with Pecora, we offer a variety of waterproofing products from joint sealants, now joint fillers, traffic coatings, which we demonstrated earlier at 11 o'clock, wall coatings and primers and so forth. So a whole library of waterproofing products offered by Pecora. You know, we've been around a long time, over 160 years, since 1862. So with that being said, we're here to talk about our new control joint resin or control joint filler, the DynaThane 800. So if you're familiar with control joint fillers, typically two component materials. You know, generally the machine mix versions are 1-to-1 by volume. You're going to be using pumps. Generally, some manufacturers, well, for us, as an example, Pecora, we have cartridges, we have 10-gallon kits, we'll talk about that. But we also have as a hand mix version, which is a slower curing version, you know, for smaller projects and so forth, repairs, whatever it may be. So we're going to talk about those products. So again, they're control joint fillers, right? So they're designed to offer spall protection to control joints. Now you have a poured concrete slab. You're going to have control joints cut in that slab to, well, as the terminology implies, control cracks, right? These are crack control joints. So these joints, for example, on say a warehouse floor, need to be filled. And that joint filler needs to offer some spall protection as well. So that's what we have here with the DynaThane products. Again, we have the DynaThane 800mm and the DynaThane 800HM, machine mix and hand mix. So the MM is a hybrid formula. It's not people hear hybrid these days, they think STPU, STPE. It's not that type of technology. It's a urethane polyurea hybrid technology, which is going to offer a rapid curing technology, which is going to be typically pumped through, you know, 1-to-1 pumps. You know, manufacturers out there such as AST and so forth offer those pumps. They're very common. Commonly used with these materials. And then there's also a hand mix version, which we're going to demonstrate. You're going to install that manually with a bulk caulking gun. Okay, so both products are two-component, you know, low odor, low VOC control joint fillers. So, you know, slightly different formulations, but in the end, they offer the same, you know, spall protection and joint protection, you know, for your industrial flooring or warehouse floor, whatever it may be. All right, so with that being said, first we're going to demonstrate the hand mix. So Mike's going to pop that open and reveal the activator. Again, these are two-component materials. So this is a hand mix. You're not going to be putting it through a pump. You're going to be mixing it by hand, you know, with a drill and paddle like you would traditionally with, say, a two-component joint sealant. So he's going to pop the lid. You got the catalyst, the activator packaged inside. The material is tinted gray as the standard color. Now, what separates this product from the machine mix is we have a field tintable base. So we really open up the playbook as far as color options. Generally with control joint fillers, your color options are gray and perhaps gray. So with this product, we offer over 21 colors. So if you do have an application where that building owner is looking to color match, you know, maybe a decorative concrete or so forth, whatever it may be, we have options in our field tintable product, and we can also do custom colors as well, so keep that in mind. So really that's the differentiator with regards to, you know, the advantages of the hand mix version versus the machine mix version. So Mike's got the lid popped open there. You saw there's some plastic in there. You want to remove that, of course. He's got the activator here. This is a 4-to-1 by volume mix. So you want to go ahead and pour in the entire contents of the activator. This is a very specific mix ratio. Okay, so you want to make sure you have add the entire contents of the activator to the base. And we're going to go ahead and mix that for a few minutes with a standard butterfly paddle. So again, if you're familiar with mixing, say, 2-component joint sealants, you're going to be familiar with these butterfly mixing paddles. So it's a very low viscosity material. It's about 3,000 centipoise, which is, a pourable material. So, it's not going to be very difficult to mix. So you want to use a variable speed ratio drill. You don't want to go full bore max speed with this because you're going to be throwing material out of the pail. It's a very low viscosity material. So the standard color, again, is gray with 21 field tintable base options. All right, so Mike's going to go ahead and mix this material for about a minute or so. And then we're going to do a quick scrape down. Now, being a low viscosity material, you're not going to have a lot of material hanging up on the sides like you would, say, a 2-component joint sealant, but it's always good practice to scrape down the sides, especially if you're using the field tintable version and you're pouring colorants into the pail. Sometimes the colorant can hang up at the top of the pail, so you want to make sure you scrape that down and you have a uniform mix. So Mike's just going to do a quick scrape down. So again, this is the DynaThane 800 HM hand mix control joint filler. So you're going to get about a 50-minute pot life on this material, right? So this, unlike the machine mix versions where you have pot life in the seconds, maybe 30 seconds or so, we give you about 40 to 50 minutes of pot life or work life to work with this material. So bear in mind, colder temperatures are going to extend the pot life, like we have here, upper 30s, low 40s. And conversely, if you're working in a hot environment, it's going to accelerate the pot life. So you're going to get a shorter pot life, shorter work life. So just always keep that in mind when working with chemically curing, 2-component materials, whatever it may be. So Mike's going to go ahead and continue a mix for another minute there. This is the DynaThane 800 HM control joint filler. So once Mike is done mixing, we're going to go demonstrate how to fill the joints with this bulk material. So with any bulk material, you see that, Glenn? You're going to want to use what they call a bulk caulking gun. So again, if you're familiar with 2-component joint sealants, you're familiar with bulk caulking guns, right? This is the way to get the material out of the pail and into your joint. So essentially, it's a large syringe, right? You're going to take the nozzle off on the end. You're going to pull up on the plunger here on the rod. It's going to essentially suck the material into the cylinder. You're going to replace your nozzle, do your sealant work. Once the canister is empty, you'll just refill and repeat the process. There you go, Glenn. So you'll notice there's an orange cone on the end here. There's a couple different varieties of tips that you can use for bulk caulking guns. By default, they come with a metal nozzle, which, the drawback of the metal nozzle is that you can't adjust the tip size, right? Typically, they're about a 1/2 inch in diameter. So if your joint is smaller or larger, you're kind of stuck. So the advantage of these plastic tips is that you can cut them to any width you need. So for these joints, your typical control joint is going to be anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 inch. So we have 1/4 inch joints cut in this poured slab here for demonstration purposes. And we're going to go ahead and fill those up. So we have the material mixed, the DynaThane 800 HM. So being a self-leveling pourable material, this process can get a little messy if you don't know what you're doing, okay? So you're going to want to suck the material up into the cylinder and get your nozzle on there quickly because it will start to spill out of the cylinder as gravity takes hold. So you want to be quick, keep your cylinder upright. Go ahead and wipe off the end. You might get a little bit of spillage, that's okay. Glenn's going to go ahead and affix the nozzle, and then we can start filling our joints. So with most crack control fillers, you're just going to go ahead and fill up the joint. If it's 2 inches or less, you could just fill the joint. If you have through slab control joints, you could use sand or backer rod to help control the depth. With these joints, they're cut into a formed slab. They're about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch deep or so. Generally, your control joints in a poured slab are going to about 1/3 depth of your slab. So Glenn's just going to go ahead and fill it up. This isn't like an expansion joint, like an elastomeric joint sealant. If you were installing, say, our DynaThane or DynaTrol 2 elastomeric polyurethane sealants, we're going to require that you use backer rod to control the sealant depth. You're going to want to ensure you have that typical hourglass joint sealant dimension, so the sealant can expand and contract. That's not the case with these joint fillers. These are installed in interior joints, non-moving conditions, so we can go ahead and just fill that joint up. So Glenn's overfilling these joints on purpose, right? So if you're familiar with control joint fillers, the name of the game is to overfill the joint. And then once it's cured, you're going to come back and shave it, with these floor scrapers. There's a variety of different types of floor scrapers with the razor blades and so forth. You're going to come back once that's set up and shave the crown, the overfill, off of the material. And that's going to give you a nice flush sealant profile. Now, so we're talking about the hand mix version, right? So this is going to be a much slower cure, purposely, than the machine mix. We'll wait to shave after we do the machine mix. So the shave time on the hand mix is 3 to 5 hours. So if it's hot outside, it may be less than 3 hours. If it's cold, it could be longer than 5 hours. So keep that in mind. So with the hand mix, you do have the benefit of time, right? Say if you're doing new construction or so forth and you have time, or a smaller project, repair, you have the time on your side, right? So you got a 50-minute pot life and a 3 to 5 hour shave time. So with that being said, obviously we're not going to be shaving the hand mix version today as we speak here. So what we did was we pre-installed some machine mix in the joint, but before we shave it, we'll go ahead and demonstrate how to use the machine mix in the cartridge package option. So that was the DynaThane 800HM, low odor, low VOC, polyurethane controlled joint filler. Okay, that's the hand mix version. So conversely, we have a machine mix version. This is probably what the guys are a little more familiar with, is the machine mix version. Generally, these products are applied using one-to-one pumps. Right, I mentioned AST offers a variety of pumps and many other manufacturers out there. It's a pretty straightforward device. It's got 2 hoppers. These materials are 1-to-1 by volume, so you fill a hopper with part A, you fill the other hopper with part B to an even level, and you simply dispense the material. A lot of these pumps are electric powered, some are even battery powered, and they'll go ahead and dispense the material through a static mixing nozzle, right? This is where the magic happens, right? This is where the materials are mixed as they go through the static mixing nozzle. There's a specific number of elements in here that properly mix the material, so by the time it comes out of the tip, it's uniformly mixed, and it actually starts curing almost immediately. So, as opposed to the hand mix version, we have a 50-minute work life. With the machine mix version, you have about 30 seconds, right? So just keep that in mind. It's going to cure up very quickly, and that's intentional, of course. So we have 2 package options. We have a 600 milliliter side-by-side dual cartridge, okay, for smaller projects, repairs, and so forth. It comes with a 32 element static mixing nozzle. So, this is predetermined here. We tested this nozzle, determined the 32 mixing elements is what's required. Don't use a shorter static mixing nozzle. You're not going to get the proper mix, right? So if you do need to use mixing nozzles outside of these, consult tech service, and we can give you those recommendations, those tech specs on the nozzles required. Just bear in mind that every cartridge is packaged with 1 nozzle. So there's a collar on here, okay? So you'll remove the collar, you affix the nozzle, you slide the collar back down, rethread it, just like we have here, and you're ready to go. We have a battery-powered, 1-to-1 gun here that we're using today. There's also manual versions of this gun. So again, this material is a very low viscosity, so you can be easily pumped through a manual caulk gun. But for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and use a battery-powered version of the gun. So we have the gun loaded up. Glenn, why don't we shoot a little bit out into the box? We'll purge. It's a very small amount, ½ ounce or so to start. Very small amount just for purging. All right, that's good. and then we can go ahead and start. So keep in mind, as soon as you hit that trigger and that material starts running through that static mixing nozzle, it's starting to cure. So if you stop work for any longer than, say, 30 to 45 seconds, you're going to have to swap out your nozzle. It will cure up in the nozzle in less than a minute. So keep that in mind. If you're going to be stopping work, you're going to have to swap out nozzles. All right, so just like the HM and pretty much every joint filler on the market, you're going to overfill the joint. You're going to fill that joint full depth and overfill. And then you're going to come back and shave off the crown. All right, so Glenn's going through here. He's just going to go ahead and extrude that entire cartridge. That's 600 mLs of material, 300 mLs of part A, 300 mLs of part B. And then we also offer 10-gallon kits, right? And that's what's going to be used with the pumps. You're going to have 5 gallons of part A, 5 gallons of part B. You're going to go ahead and fill up those hoppers and dispense the material using the pump. So again, 2 packaging options, 600 ml cartridges, 10-gallon kits. So what's unique about the MM formula versus the HM formula is that this is a polyurea, polyurethane hybrid formula. That's how we get that rapid curing technology. Like I said, it's going to start to cure within seconds. All right, so it looks like Glenn went ahead and emptied that cartridge. So that's the DynaThane 800 MM. So for demonstration purposes, we went ahead and pre-filled these joints just moments ago, literally minutes before the demonstration started. So this is set up. It's been about 20, 30 minutes or so. Okay, it's a 15-minute shave time at 75 degrees. We wanted to give it a little extra time here because it is cold out right now, okay? And we come to realize that the cold temperatures really don't affect the cure that much. So Glenn's shaving the material. You can see you shave it flush. Simple as that. You're done. Very minimal staining you can see here with the machine mix version of this product. Just go ahead and shave half of that, Glenn. So that's pretty much it for the DynaThane product. Again, very simple product to use. If you're familiar with control joint fillers, you're going to be familiar with the DynaThane product. The one unique thing that we offer is the hand mix version. It's a slower curing product in those field tintable option. Again, 21 colors you can pick from with the field tintable version of the DynaThane 800 HM. That's the hand mix. With the machine mix, you're limited to gray. And we can do custom colors as well if you're in larger quantities. But just keep in mind you're limited to gray with the DynaThane 800 MM. Thank you for your time.